Welcome to the Game Sense Football Podcast. I'm Ewan, and with me is Nas.
Hello.
Hello, Nas. In today's episode, we take a look at the England team and how they fared recently in the Nations League, as well as we'll take a quick look at the England team into the future with Thomas Tuchel. Will Harry Kane still have a prominent role under Thomas Tuchel, you think? Well, we'll discuss. So stay tuned. And of course, before we begin, if you enjoy our content, do consider subscribing to our podcast. We greatly appreciate your support. And remember to also check us out on Instagram at GameSenseFootball. So Nas, I assume football's your favorite sport?
Yes, it is.
Okay. If that's the case, then what's your second favorite?
Maybe mixed martial arts. I used to be into it more than I am now.
Mm-hmm.
I even once almost got hired by one championship that didn't pan out at the last minute. The person who promised me the job got left the company, got headhunted, poached the day after he saw me, so he never pushed my application through.
I spoke to them before as well.
Okay.
But I didn't get as far as you did. No promises were made.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Good to know.
Yeah.
And okay, so I think let's begin our episode proper with some stupid updates. Shall we?
Yes. There've been
some stupid updates.
Idiots the past week.
Yep. So first we have Premier League referee, or soon to be ex-Premier League referee, David Coote.
I think that's a name most people didn't really pay much attention to, but now that's the one that's most prominent among refereeing circles or people who pay attention to referees. He is, like you said, soon to be was a Premier League referee. A video has recently emerged where he has said some very unkind things about Jurgen Klopp, the former Liverpool manager, using quite foul
expletives. Yes.
Some people might say it's a bit discriminatory or even racist language. What's worse is that this video was obviously made at a party during COVID lockdown.
Yes, correct. And he was seen snooting some white powder.
Yes. While he was at the Euros. So while he was on the FA money overseas, he was supposedly snorting something.
He's probably going to get into a lot of trouble for it. He's been suspended by
PGMOL.
PGMOL, while they investigate. I think UEFA has suspended him as well while they investigate. Okay. Yes. So he's not, I wouldn't say his refereeing career is over, but at least, at the top level, it's probably going to be over.
I was watching the overlap show where Gary Neville, Carragher, Keane, Ian Wright, and all, they discuss this, and they're very split on this matter about should he, can he officiate in the Premier League again. And Gary Neville was saying that people shouldn't be cancelled and basically crucified just for one mistake. I actually disagree with Gary Neville with this. Firstly, I don't think it's one mistake. He'll never oversee a Liverpool game again if he continues to manage in the Premier League. But will he ever oversee an Everton game, a Man United game, a City game, Chelsea, Arsenal? And if all those teams are off the table, Spurs, Villa, Newcastle, all those are supposedly Liverpool's rivals, right? What else is left?
Yeah, I don't agree with what Gary Neville says as well. Look, it's not just one mistake, like you said. In this one video alone, there are several mistakes already, but he has made mistakes officiating, and I think officiating mistakes are forgivable, depending on the context, of course. But you remember the injury that Jordan Pickford dealt to Virgil van Dijk?
Yes, that was
it. A sliding tackle, and he was the VAR during that match, and he did not penalize Jordan Pickford for it.
Yes.
Highly controversial moment. Can say that it's a mistake, I guess.
Well, he has controversial calls around Liverpool games, and then now he's on video talking about how he basically hates the Liverpool manager. If people had their own conspiracy theories and beliefs of bias, it's even more cemented now.
Exactly. I think this is like kind of nail on the coffin for his Premier League career. So
Yeah.
don't think we'll be seeing much of David Coote
Yeah.
on the pitch anymore.
Probably
So
go to Saudi or something.
anyway,
Anyway.
the
Mm.
next stupid update, Rodrigo Bentancur
Mm.
of Tottenham Hotspur
Yes.
made a stupid comment regarding
His
Son
teammate. Yeah.
Heung-min's, yes, regarding his nationality or ethnicity.
Yeah.
Basically, he was asked about his jersey collection
Mm.
and asked about Son's jersey, and after that, he kind of said about like how Son or his cousin, if
Yeah.
they all have the shirt, they all look the same.
Yeah. They all
Yeah,
look the
how
same.
South Koreans all look the same. So it's kind of a racial slur.
Mm.
Not, I would argue, not as bad as the one that David Coote made.
Mm-hmm. You can't say that in this day and age, basically. He said this actually quite a while back, right? But he's only been punished now, been hit with a 7-game ban.
And I think £100,000 fine,
Yep.
which may not be a lot to him, but it's a lot to us.
Yeah. I could
Yep.
do a lot with £100,000.
Yeah, yeah. So, there's this thing about also, I think Sun said that, Rodrigo Bentancur apologized to him and was like
Mm.
almost in tears and
Mm.
stuff. But so, at least the good news is that according to Sun, at least it's water under the bridge for them
Yes.
and they have a good relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Yep.
still stupid of him to say something like that.
Yeah.
It was on Uruguayan TV, if I believe.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, it was.
yeah. Similar things have happened to a few other South Americans over the years. The argument is always that something like that isn't seen as insulting in their culture, and not wanting to really go uh, have a deep dive about potential racism in Latin cultures, but that's not really an excuse, I think.
It's not like he hasn't been living in the UK or
Yeah.
in Europe, right?
Yeah.
For so many years. He was in Italy before that. So
Mm.
um he should know better, I guess. Okay, so on to less stupid updates.
Mm.
San Marino.
San
San Marino,
Marino. Yeah.
yes, they beat Liechtenstein
Yes.
uh
3-1, I
second
think.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, they beat Liechtenstein in each of the last 2 international breaks, and
Yeah.
they hadn't won a single game before that in their entire footballing history. So they're officially FIFA's lowest ranked team. And
Yep.
now, with
Yep.
that win, it means that they're promoted to Nations League Group C for the next cycle. Mm.
Okay, so for all you San Marino fans out there,
Mm.
whoever you are,
Yeah.
uh, congrats.
Congrats. Yes.
Yes, and finally, England,
Mm.
was promoted to Group A of the Nations League
Yep.
after the last 2 wins. Under Lee Carsley, he did the job in the next 2 games, and now, I think the groundwork has been laid for Thomas Tuchel to take over.
With those 2 wins, England are now back in Group A of Nations
Mhm.
League. People would argue, probably rightly so, that the Nations League isn't really an important competition anyway. But if the point is to test your team, your players against quality opposition, then being in the same pot as France and Italy and Spain is going to be better than playing against Ireland and Greece.
Just a quick word about Lee Carsley. I think, he was actually quite hyped up
Mm.
after Gareth Southgate left the job. The guy's definitely a gambler.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, dropping Harry Kane and all.
yes, yes.
Yeah, very ballsy. And he actually gave debuts to a few youngsters as well.
Quite a number.
So yeah, so I think fair play to him. As an interim manager, I think he just kind of went all out, do
Mm.
or die.
Yeah, he experimented, but still accomplished what needed to be done. So can't really fault him.
Yeah, and in the process also he has kind of introduced more new young talent to Thomas Tuchel for his
Yeah,
consideration.
yeah. So basically, the pool of players that Thomas Tuchel and the England setup really can look at is wider now, because Lee Carsley had the fortitude, the balls to use untested players like an Angel Gomez and all, who we'll talk about more later.
Yeah. With that, it's a good time to move into the chat
Mm.
about Thomas Tuchel and England. So Thomas Tuchel, Nas, what can we expect from him?
So Thomas Tuchel is actually a very, very decorated football manager, right? He's won titles in multiple countries, Champions League winner as well.
Champions League with Chelsea.
Famously, he tends to fall out with club executives and the board and people above him, and also with some of his players. This is the first time he'll be taking over an international job, though. He's only managed clubs before.
Yeah.
Bayern, PSG, Chelsea, Dortmund. Was it Mainz as well, I think? But
Still
yeah,
in mind, yeah. Kind of followed in the footsteps of a club
yeah.
in Germany, at least.
Yeah. To me, there are a lot of interesting questions to consider and to think about in the time from now till the time Tuchel takes over, and also while he's there. The firstly is, if he's the manager of an international team, is his weakness of falling out with people mitigated, in the sense he won't be seeing them all the time? So is it easier to deal with him?
Like you said, a big part of it as well is falling out with his bosses. Yeah, and that's something that he will have to deal with quite a lot, as England manager.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that he will, his weaknesses will be mitigated by being an international manager, but I guess it will not be as severe, perhaps, as being a club manager, where day in day out he has to deal with all the sorts of nonsense that his board throws at him, or like the players throw at him.
People also say he's a very good motivator, but also a very, very good tactician. And so I guess the other thing is that I wonder what formation and tactical setup he'll use with England, because for most of his teams, he's tended to change a bit. He's used variations of a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 with most of the teams he's managed, but got his best success with Chelsea winning the Champions League, playing a 3-4-3, which I know last week we spoke about this shape a lot for Ruben Amorim. And I just wonder if he will go back to that for England, mainly because, as we'll see later again, the squad might actually favor it.
Yeah, I think, the differences between this discussion and the last one that we had on Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim, he has played 3-4-3 for like almost his entire managerial career.
Yes.
So it's easy to talk about like how he'll be using 3-4-3. Of course, he may surprise us again. First game suddenly 4 at the back.
Yeah.
Who knows, right? But I think for Tuchel, it's especially difficult because tactically he's very flexible. He's known to be able to use the resources available to him and basically come up with a tactic that suits the players. So he has seen, like you said, we've seen him play 3-4-3. We've seen him play kind of a 4-3-3 most of the time as well. So you can't really nail down what he is going to play. But maybe, like you said, later, based on the players that we see England has, we can probably make a guess as to what he might actually go for.
The other thing, somewhat related to that, is that if his tactical nous is one of his strengths, if he doesn't have a lot of time with the players, can that be properly transferred,
Yeah, I think that's usually the problem with international management. It's not a unique issue for Thomas Tuchel, right? So a lot of teams have problems gelling their players because you don't really have time to play with each other a lot.
Yep. Yeah, unless it's like Germany or Spain, where a large chunk of those players play for the same club anyway.
Exactly. Spain, when they had the core of Barcelona players, supplemented by quite a core of Real Madrid players.
Basically, then Germany tends to have a big group of Bayern Munich players, but whereas England tends to be quite spread out. So I just wonder if him being an international manager as opposed to a club manager, it maybe like I said, it might mitigate some of the risks and weaknesses of him being abrasive, but also not negate, but a bit of blunt some of his strengths as well. But earlier you mentioned how the issue is that for many international teams, the players don't gel well. And again, this is true for many, many, many international teams. But under Gareth Southgate, he has a lot of critics, including us.
Mm.
But one thing people always talked about glowingly was how the team bonded and, was a cohesive unit, was a good tight knit group. But in the few months that Southgate has gone under Lee Carsley, a lot of that seems to have
Mm.
evaporated because, like, this past international break, 9 players just dropped out at the last minute, didn't want to play, even though they weren't obviously injured. And Harry Kane came out and all but said that this is unacceptable, and under Southgate, this wouldn't have happened.
I guess we haven't been giving Southgate enough credit. That's the
No,
main
yeah,
takeaway,
yeah,
right?
like,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I think you're right. This is something that Tuchel will have to look at because if I were international manager, I
Mhm.
wouldn't think it's acceptable to be turning down the chance to play for your country.
And honestly, it's an important game, like the game against Ireland, important game for your national team to get back up to the higher division. It's the last game for the interim manager, the last game before the new manager comes in. Surely you would want to be there as an audition, for the incoming manager, because
Mm.
most of these players that dropped out, they weren't all obviously automatic starters. Okay, let's look. Okay? There were 9 players. It's Aaron Ramsdale, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Jared
Mm-hmm.
Brantwaite, who pulled out at the very, very
Yep.
last minute.
I think
Levi
he's
Cole,
injured.
yeah. Levi Colwill,
Mm.
Declan Rice, Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, Bukayo Saka, Jack Grealish.
Mm.
I would argue that aside from Declan Rice and Saka, everybody else is not a guaranteed starter for England.
Cole Palmer even?
I mean, historically, the past couple of years, Cole Palmer hasn't started for England, and this is his last audition before the new manager comes in an English shirt, and he doesn't take it.
Yeah, I think Thomas Tuchel has a good um opportunity to kind of start off on a clean slate and really
Mm.
drop the players he thinks are toxic to the team.
Mhm.
The only players he would have, some sort of a semblance of a relationship with would be the Chelsea players.
Yeah, but the thing is, most of the Chelsea players that have been called up in the past couple of years for England didn't play under Tuchel. Because,
Conor Gallagher, I think.
yeah, Conor Gallagher played a bit, but not. I think he was out on loan most of the time.
Mm,
Reece James is one,
always injured.
half injured half the time. Ben Chilwell is the other one, again,
Always injured.
always injured. And there's Mason Mount, who is at Man United now. Mason Mount was very important for Thomas Tuchel for Chelsea. But there's
Mm.
also Harry Kane for Bayern Munich.
Well, Mason Mount has also got to be not always injured.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think you would have to agree, right? So the opportunity for Tuchel now to actually kind of clean the slate and start afresh with players he thinks would be better for the team. I think it's a good chance right now.
It's just, I wonder if there are some players who start on a negative now, instead of just clean slate.
Yeah, exactly. That problem.
Yeah, yeah. Because again,
Yeah.
like we look at someone like a Trent Alexander-Arnold, right? Who everybody agrees amazing player, but with deficiencies and holes in his games, and you basically need to build a team around his play styles and his uh flaws.
Mm-hmm.
If Tuchel, but at the same time, he's nowhere near guaranteed starting for England because his main position is right back, and England have a shit ton of good right backs. And like
Yeah.
we said, Tuchel himself won the Champions League with one of them, albeit he's injured half the time. So if you are Trent, do you think that Tuchel coming in, I'm definitely starting? I don't think you can think that.
I don't think there's a guarantee. Like we said, right? Tuchel is tactically flexible, which is a good thing. Given an unpredictable pool of players. But I'm going to ask you a question, the
Okay.
question that you asked me
Okay.
for Ruben Amorim, right? And also for Ruud van Nistelrooy. What's the first thing you think Thomas Tuchel should address when he comes in as manager?
I think the first thing he has to do is decide on his preferred attacking shape and combination. For the
Hmm.
longest time, it's been Harry Kane and two wingers. I have a feeling Tuchel might go with something else.
I actually think that he might go in hard on Jude Bellingham, right?
Hmm.
A dynamic kind of box to box kind of player is something that I think Tuchel would appreciate, and he's also got kind of continental experience playing for Real Madrid.
Hmm. Like I said just now, I think Tuchel will go with a different attacking shape. You've said that
Mm-hmm.
you think he'll go hard on Jude Bellingham. I agree. And
Mm-hmm.
you also mentioned that England have a very wide, diverse, dynamic squad. And I guess now it's a good time as any to talk about that after the break.
Yes, after the break. So do stay tuned. We will be talking more about the England squad for the present as
Mm.
well as for the future. We'll kind of have a take on maybe who will make the World Cup 2026 squad. So stay
Mhm.
tuned.
We spoke about the manager before the break. Now let's look at the squad that he's going to inherit. Okay, Thomas Tuchel for England. His mandate now is to basically win the World Cup in 2026. His contract is only till then.
I think it has to be,
Yeah.
Gareth Southgate for all his deficiencies made winning a realistic
Mm.
kind of thing, right? For
Mm.
for his team. Yeah.
Yep. Got to finals of Euros, semi-finals of the World Cup, and also he was
Yeah.
close. He was close. So Tuchel has to do one better at least. So what I've done is I've looked at all the players that Lee Castley has used. Looked at the players that were called up for the Euros, including the provisional
Hmm.
squad, and some other players that have been called up by Southgate in the past 2+ years, and a few more.
Okay.
And what we'll do is we'll see if we can come up with a good 26-man squad for Thomas Tuchel using these players. We'll go by position just so it's a bit neater. Okay. So
Mhm.
I'll give you the list of keepers that have been used. Tell me the three that you'd bring and who your first choice is.
Okay.
Jordan Pickford, James Trafford, Dean Henderson. Those were the three that were most recently used.
Hmm.
Then there's Aaron Ramsdale, Sam Johnston, and Nick Pope.
Okay.
Hmm.
Nick Pope, first choice.
Nick Pope is first choice. Okay.
Yeah. Uh, I'll take Dean Henderson
Mm-hmm.
and I guess I'll take. Wait, is Aaron Ramsdale still at Chelsea? Chelsea. I mean, Arsenal.
No, he was loaned to somewhere. I can't remember where he's but actually playing now.
He's been playing.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to like him quite a bit when he was playing for Arsenal. So I'll pick Ramsdale. I'm looking to the future,
Mm-hmm. So
and that future has there's no place for Jordan Pickford.
no Jordan Pickford. Big call, big call. So I
Yep.
went with Pickford, Henderson, Ramsdale. But in my mind, Ramsdale should be first choice. If he's playing regularly, I think he's a better keeper than Pickford. So no big controversy there. Slightly different our picks, but I am happy to go with yours. Okay. Right
Didn't
back.
pick Pickford, that's all.
Yeah. Right back is the difficult one, okay? So the
Hmm.
right backs that have been used the past couple of years. There's Trent Alexander-Arnold for Liverpool, Tino
Hmm.
Livramento, Kyle
Yeah.
Walker, Reece James, Rico Lewis, Kieran Trippier. I'm not even counting other right backs like Joe Gomez or something, but these are the specialist right backs that have been used.
So to be honest, I have no idea how good Livramento is.
Mm.
But uh, Rico Lewis for sure.
Yep, he's so good.
Uh, Trent, because he has the potential to be flexible
Mhm.
in terms of his position. But I'll take one more.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah,
Trippier, I
I
guess.
think so. Yeah, yeah. Trippier will be
Yeah.
a bit old for the World Cup, but I think he'll still be okay.
If not available, I might go for one Bisaka because something a little bit different. Because
Yes.
if I
You,
do need a defensive type right
yeah.
back, then one Bisaka would be a good choice.
You guys can't see the spreadsheet I'm using, but it basically lists all these players by position, and all the way at the bottom, there are players who haven't been called up but also eligible. Wan-Bissaka is its second name on that list.
All right. Why not number one on that list?
You'll see why later, because there's somebody
Number
else.
one, Bisaka.
Ah, very good. Aaron 1 Bissaka, not Aaron 2 Bissaka.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. All right. Let's go
Okay.
on to the next position.
Centre back. Okay.
Centre back.
So centre
Okay.
back is quite a long list. Again, I'm going to go through all. You might not remember it, but yeah. So John Stones, Mark Guehi, Ezri Konsa, Harry Maguire, Jarrell Kwanzaa, the young Liverpool defender, Fikayo Tomori for AC Milan, Jared Branthwaite, Joe Gomez, who is also quite flexible, Tyrone Mings, Levi Colwill, Taylor Harwood Bellis, and Lewis Dunk. Taylor Harwood Bellis is the fellow who just played and scored
recently.
Yeah. He is Roy Keane's future son-in-law.
What?
He is engaged to Roy Keane's daughter, yes. Yeah, I know. So random. And his twin sister plays basketball for England also.
Oh
Or
my
Britain, I guess.
gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I can't imagine having Roy Keane as a father-in-law.
I know. Can you imagine? Like, your relationship with the father-in-law is always, I would say strained, but sometimes there's pressure, right? And imagine it's Roy Keane.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's actually a Man City player on loan
Yeah.
to Southampton. So
Yes.
Man City player. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, the banter at dinner would be like
Yeah.
epic, I guess.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
among those names, I picked John Stones, I picked Tomori, Branthwaite, Levi Colwill. As it stands, I probably need one or two more, but I picked 4.
Okay. I would go for 5.
Okay.
So that there's also some kind of flexibility in going for 3 at the back. I would say Levi Colwill. Konsa, probably. You have John Stones there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. John Stones. Tomori would be good, actually.
Tomori has been very, very
fantastic.
consistent for AC Milan.
Yeah.
The past 4 years now, I think.
Maybe even for good measure, just bring back like Chris Smalling.
Chris Smalling is on my list at the bottom if you want. I mean, no joke. He's on this Excel sheet.
So to be honest, I would probably go for someone younger. Mark Gay.
Maybe? Yeah, Mark Gay is also fairly young, right? Yeah. So
yeah, and fairly good.
Yeah. So you have 5 centre backs now.
Yep.
For left back, this is the issue. In the past 2+ years, there's only been 3 specialist left backs that have been used. It's Luke Shaw, Ben Chilwell, or Lewis Hall. Yeah.
Left back. Wow. It's a no-brainer if Luke Shaw was fit. And Chilwell as well, of course. Yeah.
You would bring both?
I would bring both. I would bring 2. I mean, why would I only bring 1?
In midfield, I'll separate it between central defensive midfielders and attacking midfielders. There's a bit of overlap also, because in this case, I'm not counting Jude Bellingham as an attacking midfielder because he can play deeper. So I'll go through the deeper midfielders first. Declan Rice, Kobe Menu, Jude Bellingham, Curtis Jones, Conor Gallagher, Angel Gomez, Eric Dyer, Calvin Phillips, Adam Wharton.
Calvin Phillips is definitely not going in there.
I can tell you from this pool of players, I picked 4. I might pick one more, but I've only picked 4 currently.
I'm definitely picking Declan Rice.
Yep.
And Kobe Menu. And probably Adam Wharton, to be honest.
Okay. And I assume you're picking Jude Bellingham.
Yeah. I mean, he's flexible. He can play high up. Even Kobe Menu can play high up. So
yes.
I think it's not really a big issue. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So I went with Rice, Menu, Bellingham, and Curtis Jones.
Curtis Jones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Curtis Jones, to me, very underrated.
On fire.
Yeah. It's got a back heel that it pains me to say as a United player, United fan, sorry, but Kobe Menu, but Curtis Jones, the Liverpool player, is the kind of dependable, tactically sound, intelligent midfielder that fits into any midfield. So he would be the perfect player to have in the squad. If any of your midfielders are injured, he can play.
Cool.
Okay. So for attacking midfielders, There's Eberici Eze, Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, Morgan Gibbs-White, James Maddison.
Eze. I'll
Yep.
pick Eze.
Mhm.
James Madison.
Okay.
And who are the rest again? Gibbs White and who else?
Gibbs-White, Foden, and Palmer.
Foden and Palmer.
Yes. Good crop of players.
Foden and Palmer must be in. I guess. Let me reject that then. Foden and Palmer definitely gotta be in.
Yep.
So there's Madison and Eze as well.
Yes.
And I will remove Adam Wharton
Okay.
to accommodate more of these players up. So
Okay.
Cole Palmer, Phil
Mhm.
Foden,
Mhm.
uh,
Eze
Eze,
and Madison.
Gibbs White over Madison because
Okay.
he's
For
a little more
versatility.
versatile.
Yeah.
Yeah, Madison is pretty much locked in as attacking mid.
Yeah. Central attacking
Yeah,
mid, take set pieces.
correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
I picked Eze, Palmer, and Foden. I didn't pick Gibbs White, even though I wanted to.
Yeah.
Okay. Wingers.
Mm.
So there's Saka, Bukayo
Mhm.
Saka for Arsenal, Anthony Gordon from Newcastle, Noni
Mm.
Madueke, Chelsea, Jared
Mm.
Bowen, West Ham, Jack Grealish from City,
Mm.
Marcus Rashford for United.
I wouldn't pick Rashford based on form, I guess.
Mm.
Uh, and Saka has to go in.
Yeah.
Saka has to be there.
Saka must play.
Saka has to be there. As for the rest, wow. I mean, I do want to include, like people like Jared Bowen.
Mm.
I think he's been doing really well for West Ham. But there doesn't seem to be space. Jadon Sancho's not on the list.
Jadon Sancho is on my other players list at the bottom.
Anyway, I don't think Jadon Sancho deserves a space there anyway.
Other wingers at the bottom include Harvey Barnes, Raheem Sterling.
Nah, none of them. Yeah, Happy Fans maybe, but Raheem Sterling, no.
Yeah. I went with Saka, Gordon, and Bowen.
Okay. So I will take two.
Okay.
So I'll just take Saka and Gordon.
Okay. Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So strikers or central attackers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Harry Kane, Ollie Watkins, Dominic Solanke, Morgan Rogers, Callum Wilson, Ivan Toney.
I think Ivan Toney's career is going down already.
Yeah,
He's
I
in
mean,
Saudi
Saudi.
Arabia, relaxing.
Yeah.
I would take just Harry Kane and Ollie Watkins, to be honest. Harry Kane might not necessarily be a starter, but I think his experience would really help the team. He'll be like, what, 33 by the time the World Cup comes? So Ollie Watkins will be 30 actually, to be fair. He's not much younger, but still, the striker would not be the main focus of my squad based on the players available.
Okay. Before we finish our squads, in your mind, what shape should Thomas Tuchel in England go with?
I'm inclined to go for a kind of a 3-4-3 or 3-4-1-2, whatever, 3-4-2-1, whatever variation of it. But basically, it's a three at the back.
Yeah, last week, again, talking about Amorim, I said I hated three at the back formations, but for England, and because it's Tuchel and because of the pool of players they have, I think 3-4-3 is actually the way to go. So I'm going 3-4-3 as well.
Exactly.
3-4-3, what's your lineup from back to front? So you said that Nick Pope starts.
Nick Pope starts, correct.
Okay.
Three at the back will be who are my center backs? So John Stones will definitely start.
You have Jones, Gehi, Konsa, Tomori, or Colwill.
Probably Colwill. And maybe Gay. Yeah, probably Gay.
That's a good three.
Wing back. I have Trent. I have
Rico Lewis and
Rico
Trippier.
Lewis. I'll probably go with Rico Lewis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Left wing back.
Luke Shaw.
Okay.
I mean, what are the options?
Rico Lewis could play left wing back.
He could, but he's on my right. So,
who are your two deep midfielders, center midfield? Declan Rice and
Kobe Menu, probably.
And who are the two wide attackers, wingers or attacking midfielders behind the striker?
So I'm left with the two wide attackers as
And
well
the
as
striker.
one striker, right?
Hmm.
One side Palmer, one side Foden. I do not want that.
Okay, go on.
Yes. So I'll probably go with Foden on the left,
Mhm.
Saka on the right,
Okay,
and Palmer as a false nine.
interesting. Wait.
Yep.
Where's Jude Bellingham?
Oh,
Ah.
shoot. Ah,
Does he play instead of Kobe Menu in deep midfield?
yes. That
Okay.
would be the only obvious choice, I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah. For me, it's very similar to yours. I would have Ramsdale as the starting keeper if he's playing well. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
my back three is
Mm-hmm.
Stones in the middle, and then Konza and Tomori. Okay. Konza and Tomori as my other two defenders of good,
Okay.
solid, technical back three.
Mm-hmm.
Right wing back, Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
He will
Mm-hmm.
play right wing back in my team. Left
Okay.
wing back, Bukayo Saka.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that's where he started his career. He's played left back for England. He's left-footed. He's actually left-footed, so he'll keep the width. Deep midfield like you, Declan Rice, but I'll have Rice and Kobe Mino.
Mm-hmm.
And my front three, I will have Cole Palmer and Phil Foden flanking Jude Bellingham. So no
Mm.
real striker. I have Mason Mount, by the way, in my team because he's could play
Mm.
any of the midfield slots for Thomas Tuchel, and Tuchel knows him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay. Yeah, good. I think it's a good exercise in going through the players for England. We do have a listener question, do we?
Yes. So not so much a
Of course
question,
we.
but just like a comment from
Mm.
Jared, who was Jared is a Newcastle fan, so obviously was looking at the
Oh.
Newcastle squad, and he noticed how there were a lot of good young English players in the Newcastle squad, and
Mm.
he wanted us to talk about how sort of that measures up against other footballing nations like a Spain, like a Italy, like a Germany. Um, we did briefly discuss this before we
Yep.
started recording, and Ewan correctly stated that most likely this would just become a treatise on football economics. But if we try to steer away from a lengthy discussion in that direction,
Yeah.
is there a reason you think? Because it's not as if English clubs don't use English players, because almost every top club in England has regular starters who are English, but very rarely are they the key player.
I think part of the reason is also because we can't steer away completely from the economics point
Yeah.
of view, right? But with clubs having money, it's so easy to just get somebody who's a more established
Mm.
player in that position. And with the influx of continental managers as well
Yes.
and continental
Yeah.
staff, there is a preference definitely for players that they are familiar with.
Mm. The other thing I was thinking of as well is this is only a recent development, but with the new focus on financial fair play and profit and sustainability rules,
Yep.
it means that every club wants to just sell off the academy players, right? So no one is actually taking the time to nurture their own players because they want to sell them as soon as you can to get profit as soon as you can.
Yep. So, it takes a lot of effort, time, you need patience to
Mm.
develop players from the academy. And that's
Yes.
something that the English clubs can afford not to do because they can afford it.
Yeah. And to be fair, the flip side is the managers cannot afford to
Mm.
put to bet on nurturing the academy players. Most managers don't last more than 2 years. Like I said, this whole discussion about English players playing for English clubs is a very nuanced one, which could take hours and hours and hours, and we don't really have the scope for that. We might revisit it in the future because somebody did also want us to talk about
Mm.
looking at other nations and how they do, like Germany and Spain, most famously. Maybe we could do something about that in the future.
Yep, be good. All right. Yes. So hope you enjoyed the content this episode. And if you can, leave us a like, and also follow us on Instagram at GameSenseFootball, and do drop us an email at gamesensefootball@gmail.com. So till next time, see ya.
See you guys. Congratulations, John Jones.